2 months ago, just 2 months, the most famous hotel in the world was fully booked, 94% occupancy. Lines at the Burj Khalifa from the moment it opened. Private yachts crossing the marina every 5 minutes. Dubai was, without any argument, the #1 tourist destination on the planet. Today, those same hotels on Palm Jumeirah and downtown Dubai, they're running at under 20% occupancy. Under 20%. Can you imagine that? Empty hallways in 5-star palaces that charge up to €800 a night. Luxury boutiques opening in the morning with not a single customer. Infinity pools as far as the eye can see, and nobody in them. And hotel managers, for the first time in years, slashing their rates by 40% rather than watch their rooms stay empty. How is that even possible? How did a city that had just posted its 3rd consecutive record year crash into freefall in a matter of weeks? And the bigger question, is this temporary, or has Dubai just lost something it may never get back? What you're about to discover in this video isn't just a slowdown. This is the story of a city built on a dream, and the moment the rest of the world decided, overnight, to stop believing in it. To understand the scale of what's happening, you first need to understand just how high Dubai had climbed. In 2023, the emirate welcomed 17,150,000 international visitors, a record. Tourism professionals around the world couldn't believe it. Nobody expected numbers like that so soon after the pandemic. But Dubai had done something very few cities have ever pulled off. It turned COVID into a launch pad. While Europe was closing its borders, Dubai stayed open, and high-end travelers looking for somewhere to breathe converged on the Gulf in massive numbers. In 2024, the figure jumped to 18,720,000 visitors, a 9% increase. Western Europe remained the #1 source market, 20% of total arrivals, up 14.8% year-on-year. Hotel occupancy climbed to 78.2%. Dubai's Department of Economy and Tourism, the DET, was talking about a new golden era. Then 2025 confirmed everything. 19,590,000 visitors, 5% more, a 3rd consecutive annual record. In December 2025, Dubai welcomed over 2 million tourists in a single calendar month, a first in its history. New Year's Eve, 94.1% occupancy, a level that hadn't been seen in 20 years. Europe, the UK, the United States, all growing. Luxury hotels weren't even bothering to cut prices in the off-season anymore. Dubai had stopped being just another destination. It had become the global symbol of aspirational travel. And that's exactly why what happened next hit so hard. Because the higher you climb, the more visible the fall. But before the collapse, there were already cracks. Quiet ones, almost invisible in the official numbers, but real. Early in 2025, a troubling trend starts to appear in certain segments of the hotel market. Luxury properties, the same ones that had seen a 3% occupancy increase in 2024, were watching their average daily rate drop by almost 2%. In plain terms, they were filling more rooms, but at lower prices. Guests were starting to compare, negotiate, hesitate. And all the while, something far more dangerous was taking shape just a few hundred kilometers away. Saudi Arabia had been pouring staggering amounts of money into transforming its tourism image for years. Vision 2030, that's the name of the program. And the numbers are mind-blowing. Over $800 billion committed to tourism investment. NEOM, an entire city built from scratch on the Red Sea coast, featuring a 170-kilometer linear urban belt called The Line, running entirely on renewable energy. The Red Sea Project, pristine islands, untouched beaches, 8,000 hotel rooms across 50 luxury properties, and a mountain ski resort for travelers who no longer wanted to fly to Switzerland. Above all, a national marketing budget multiplied by 3.4 since 2022, targeting exactly the same affluent travelers who had been filling Dubai's hotels for a decade. On the other side, Western tourists were quietly starting to change their tune. On Reddit, on travel forums, in YouTube comments, one word kept coming up more and more often to describe Dubai. A word that's deadly for any tourist destination: artificial. Entire threads. Was Dubai actually worth it? Where the majority of responses were increasingly discouraging. Travel influencers with millions of followers starting to walk back their enthusiasm. And then, suddenly, a disturbing new hotel trend: hidden fees, pool surcharges, mandatory resort fees. Services that used to be included in the room rate now billed separately. It got so bad that the UAE Ministry of Economy had to launch a crackdown. Over 500 violations were recorded in the first few weeks of 2026 alone. All of that was the kindling, the hidden fragility beneath the golden surface. And then, in the space of a few days, everything ignited. Late February 2026. The geopolitical situation in the Middle East breaks. Tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran, simmering for months, reach a breaking point. Military strikes are exchanged. Airspace closures cascade across the entire Gulf. And Dubai International Airport, the world's busiest for international passenger traffic, finds itself at the center of the chaos. To understand what happens next, you have to realize one thing. Dubai isn't just a tourist destination. It's a hub, a global crossroads. Thousands of connecting flights pass through its airport every single day, linking Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas. When Gulf airspace becomes uncertain, it's not just Dubai that gets hit. The entire global air travel network has to reorganize. And within hours, the cancellations start pouring in. Emirates Airlines, Etihad, British Airways, Lufthansa, Air France. Hundreds of flights canceled, delayed, rerouted. Travel times for flights forced to detour around the conflict zone swell by 2 to 3 hours. Available ticket prices spike. And the question millions of travelers start asking on their booking apps is simple. Does it make sense to fly into a region sitting a few hundred kilometers from an active armed conflict? For most of them, the answer is no. Not because Dubai is dangerous, not because the UAE is at war, but because risk psychology doesn't run on pure logic. Western governments start issuing travel advisories for the entire Middle East region. And when a government says, "Exercise caution," families on holiday tend to listen. The results come almost immediately. In March 2026, hotel bookings in Dubai are cut in half compared to February. In half. In a single month. Flight bookings collapse by 80%. The World Travel and Tourism Council, the WTTC, releases an estimate that stops people cold. The conflict is costing the Middle East tourism industry at least $600 million per day in lost international visitor spending. $600 million per day. On Palm Jumeirah, one of the most upscale areas in the world, 5-star hotels watch their occupancy collapse to under 20%. Properties that were running at 85% just 3 months earlier. Hotel managers who, for the first time since COVID, find themselves offering discounted staycation packages to UAE residents just to get some bodies in the building. And for Dubai, tourism isn't a side business. It's the backbone of the entire economy. 12.2% of GDP from direct contributions alone. 21% when you factor in the ripple effects on real estate, retail, and hospitality. When tourists disappear, it's not just hotels that suffer. An entire chain of economic value seizes up. Tour operators like TUI start suspending or scaling back their Dubai packages. Hotel construction projects go on pause. Investors with commitments in new luxury developments start asking questions nobody can yet answer satisfactorily. But here's what most of the analysis isn't saying. What's happening to Dubai in March 2026 isn't just the result of the regional conflict. It's the perfect intersection of three simultaneous crises that nobody anticipated at this scale. A geopolitical crisis cutting off air travel, a value perception crisis eroding the loyalty of premium travelers that had been building for months, and a structural competitive crisis, Saudi Arabia, with its near unlimited resources, silently absorbing the same clientele. Three crises